Hi, and welcome to Consciousness Caffeine Radio. This is Rainbow Warrior Goddess Lisa, and today I am so excited. First off, the way this day is going, I'm so excited to finally be on air because it's one of those crazy days where magic is like birthing into the world and everything's happening all at once. And there's never enough time. But we have an amazing show today, but unfortunately my co-star BrettStar is not able to make it. He's wandering through Australia and can't find good internet. As anyone who's been in Australia knows, it's a challenge. But today we have a very special guest. I've been in Prague for a couple of months this summer and found this most amazing, I was looking for a co-working space. And today I found this place that we're interviewing one of the people from today. Actually, a bunch of people hopefully will be coming on the call later. But our topic today is hacking the matrix, cryptocurrency, co-working, 3DL creations, coffee, and beer. Woohoo! Gotta have water and beer. I didn't get the coffee, but I was in too much of a hurry. So anyway, today, as I said, I'm interviewing Sodomak, who's a supervisory board member of Paralelni Polis. He's a crypto-anarchist, a visionary, a change agent, and a motorcycle traveler and enthusiast. Paralelni Polis is this place that I found where the co-working spot was. It translates to parallel policies, and it's a unique cutting-edge community hub and an economic model in Prague, in the Czech Republic. It is the home of the Institute of Cryptoanarchy, its Hackers Congress, Paper Hub, which is the co-working space we're in right now, for digital nomads, at MakersLab, a 3D print shop that's developing emerging 3D printing technology, and Bitcoin coffee. And they have their own beer. So with that, I would love to welcome Sodomak from Paralelni Polis. Sodomak, how are you, BrettStar?
Thank you. What to say after that? I'm excited to be in your show. The first of all, I have to say that Paralelni Polis is our also unique place in the world. We're the first coffee, cafe, which is Bitcoin only.
See?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I have to.
You know what though? I think one of us is going to have to go somewhere else because I'm hearing feedback. So I don't care. What do you want to do?
I can go outside.
You want to go outside?
Yeah, I can go.
It'll look beautiful. They can see the outside co-working terrace. I'll just talk for a second because I'm going to have you start off with your story. So no, go ahead, and I'll just talk for a sec. You're all good while you get relocated. You don't have to drag through. Welcome to the life of digital nomads who are on the cutting edge of doing things, and nobody's laid a map out for us. And sometimes you get wrenches thrown in your lap, and you just gotta make do and find a way, however it needs to be. But this place is amazing, and I have been coming here to be able to utilize their amazing internet. And what really struck me about it first was that when I found it is that the entire place only takes Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So there's a crypto revolution going on here. It's amazing. And I see you getting settled, but I'll let Sodomak tell us more about it. But Sodomak, what we do on this show, first is just tell a little bit about your story. You can make it as short or as long as you want, because it's all stories as medicine, and it really helps everybody else who may see some impossible challenge or something that's impossible to hear somebody's story and how they got to where they are today. So I'd really, even though you shared with me the other night, I'd really love to have you share your story a little bit to how you got to be a supervisory board member at Paralelni Polis and Congress going. Why don't you start with that, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, I always be so-called free-minded, and the ideas which now we are providing at and spreading at Paralelni Polis, so always for me very important. But I had some friends which were the same way in this ideas. So
like-minded.
Yeah, like-minded. Yeah. Sorry.
Great T-shirt, by the way. I love that. Taxation is theft. We got a pair of good ones. Institute of Cryptoanarchy and taxation is theft. So a bunch of like-minded other friends and
it's 3 years ago when I found the artist group Stohoven, which were founders of Paralelní Polis, and I'm basically I went here just for a coffee, and I never left.
I can see why. I've done that a few times too, in Sedona and Bali.
Okay, the short history of Paralelní Polis, it's now we are in the beginning of fourth year, and as I said, it becomes as the idea of the guys from artist group Stohoven, which is a famous Czech artist group. They are anarchists.
I'm an anarchist. What? And just for the people who don't know what anarchy is, if you're still don't know that and you're listening to this show, it is not it is chaos, but it's not entropic chaos. It's syntropic chaos. And it's also where there are no rulers. Everyone is sovereign and accountable and responsible for themselves. But it's actually a little bit of chaos while it comes into being. Like a baby that's not done yet. But I love anarchists. Go ahead.
Many people, when they heard the word anarchy, they usually imagine that there are some, as my friend said, the drunk punk. But there are many different kinds of anarchists.
Yes.
And here the ideas what we want to spread with the world is crypto-anarchist idea. So it basically means
Could you just speak up a little bit more?
Okay.
There you go. Much better.
Okay. So it's basically about freedom online.
Just online?
So basically freedom of speech. So it means that nobody should hurt anybody because of his speech or his ideas or stuff like this.
Exactly.
So this is the ideas we want to spread, and we want to provide some tools for it. Teach people how to communicate securely without third person.
Encrypted. We love it.
Because if there are many issues with security in communication.
Everywhere. I don't know what it's like in Prague, but I know over in the country that I'm from, America, it's an absolute police state. Every email, every call, every post. I call it fascist book. I don't call it Facebook because the CIA just is data mining. And I have another friend who actually has built in a completely encrypted app similar to Facebook, and I can't wait till he gets that out. I use it with him, but yeah, no. There's just so much spying.
One of the things is privacy. So
yes.
I don't want to any so-called officials to hear my communication within the friends, within me and my business partners, or with my family, or so. It's our private things.
We all have free will choice to what we want to have to keep to ourselves or amongst friends. You need to have that in order to feel, you open. It's about having healthy boundaries, and we all have different ones, and we have a right to choose what we keep to ourselves or share. Absolutely. Without being criminalized for it as well. And the cryptocurrency itself is hacking the whole banking scam and that kind of thing. But it's beautiful. And now it's gone into all this steam kind of a thing. But what's really amazing about Paralelni Polis, not only, and the paper hub, I was like, oh, Bitcoin, I'm going. But you guys are doing so much across the board. And we'll get to that after, because I want to start off. Do you want to start off with the Hackers Congress, or do you want to start off, because it's what they're doing here is ginormous. They have all these programs. The Hackers Congress is just one of them. They do stuff in art and science and technology, and yeah, it's off the chart.
So basically, when I come back to the basis of Paralelní Polis, and the name Paralelní Polis is really important for that, because it's based on the essay of the former Czechoslovakian dissident from communist era. He was the one of the author of Charter 77, which was a document made by a group of people who disagreed with the communist regime, with
the communist regime.
How the communists broke the human
rule.
rights.
Yeah, the rule that they had. Actually, when I Googled Paralelní Polis to translate it, I got both parallel politics, which would be, communism, because it's a form of politics, or policies, which is what politics just really is, a set of policies. So it was revolutionary. And that's what I love about the Prague people. I've learned much about your history, and you stand up and have your spirit. You have not lost your spirit here. It's lovely. The people of Czech Republic have a wonderful spirit.
One of I think the famous guy who wrote that document, Charter 77, was former Czech President Václav Havel.
Really?
Is the but the other man, Václav Benda, wrote an essay, Paralelní Polis, and he described their parallel societies, which could be independent on the governments and the states. So it's that's the basic of the Paralelní Polis as our project. Because many people always ask us why we are against government, against states, and they said we are not contra polis, we are not parallel polis. And we don't want to fight with the state. We want to make states obsolete.
Exactly, and that's when you and I got into that part of the conversation. I go, this is just in America. There was a gentleman named Buckminster Fuller, and he said, when you want to create something that isn't there, don't bother wasting your time fighting the current system. Yeah. Instead, build something that makes it obsolete. And that's exactly. And I'm like, oh, I so have to interview you and this whole place on the show. I just thought it was a really cool co-working space when I first got here. And then I started to see what was going on. I'm like, oh my God. But so continue.
One of the things we decided, it's not to cooperate with states and with his money.
Yes, so I do not consent.
Just bitcoins.
None of that fractional reserve fiat currency for us.
Yeah, because the state money is state money. It's not yours.
Exactly. And I don't know about your country, but yeah. No, and it's not only that. In my country, it says right on it. I'm sure all paper currency is this way primarily. I only know a few banks that have the BRICS banks that actually have value, gold and silver backed currencies, but they're all, and it says right on it, it's a debt instrument. Yeah. But we don't need to get into that much too deeply. A lot of my listeners are all on this because I talk about this stuff a lot. But no, and it's absolute awesome crypto anarchy. We're not fighting, we're peaceful, but we want change, and we're not playing in the rules that they're corrupt. It's like playing Monopoly with some bully who's stealing deeds and all the money out of the bank and taking all the money every time he goes, he lands on free parking, and you never get paid when you pass go.
We believe that everything what people should do should be voluntary.
Yes.
So people should not be pushed to use the state tools as a money, because you have to have a right to control your properties.
Yes.
And if you use the state money, so you don't have a control about it, because national banks can from night to night change the value of that money. It happened in the 50s, in the last century in Czechoslovakia. Short time after communists get into the government, they from one day to another, they decrease the value of the money to 1/2 or so.
Yeah, so they did it here too. Wow, I wasn't aware that the bank just emptied all the bank accounts here in the Czech. I know they did it in Cyprus a couple years back. No, just about, what was it? I think 80% of the volume of the money in the bank's accounts was just gone. It didn't exist anymore.
Yeah, and for me, it's the act of violence.
It is.
Somebody steal value from something you have. So it's a theft.
I call it government terrorism when it's that act.
Yes, of course, yeah.
Which is what I call mass vaccination, mandated in our country to go to school, etc. That's still government terrorism. It really is. And that's what I love on all the levels here. So there's that real, tell me a little bit about the Hackers Congress and how that came about.
Hackers Congress is I call it our flagship. It's something like Christmas for us. It's a 3 days event. Speakers from all around the world came to Prague and give lectures about free society, free markets, free economical stuff.
Yep.
Like this. And
free economies, gift economies,
yeah.
everything.
Our upcoming Congress is for the first time totally sold out.
I saw that. Why don't you still tell the dates of people that are interested for going to the Congress, because it's coming up in a couple of weeks in October, correct?
Yeah, it will be from 6 to 8 October.
And anyone who's interested, I actually have the link to the Hackers Congress and the information for the show, so they can check it out and see what's going on if they want to know more as well.
Yeah, we will provide some stream of some lectures, but not all, because actually we were not prepared to to that, so that we will be sold out. But many of lectures will be recorded, and during the year, as we manage it, we will give it to the YouTube for free. And perhaps the next year we will stream all the Congress, because there are many. always there are many people who write us that they really want to go to Congress, but our capacity is it's full.
It's full. The room's filled. But yeah, no, that's wonderful. It makes me so happy to know that it sold out so quickly. Maybe we'll have you on the show. Maybe we'll have a show with at the Hackers Congress live next year. we'll put it all live on the air for the whole world to watch and participate.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's amazing ideas being spawned forth there.
We have many interesting speakers like Jim Bell. He's author of the document Assassination Markets. It's a little bit let's say controversial because
slightly.
People don't know. It's a recommend. It's how to assassinate the corrupted politics.
I'm all for that. Anyway, governments, they're all dead legal entities. They don't exist and living and breathing like us. We give them power. So yes, let's do that.
Speakers are great. Paul Rosenberg from US, which is a freedom writer and a great speaker. We have the privacy extremists, Frank Brown and Smuggler, which are well known from the hackers community. We have Amir Taki, which is and he fought against ISS, and he was arrested because he was targeted that he is a terrorist.
Yeah, don't you know that at least in my country, anybody who speaks of any kind of creative idea or anything outside of the box of the groupthink propaganda that they spew all over the television and schools and magazines and stuff, you're a terrorist. You're not a person with compassion wanting to help make the world better for all. That's a threat to the very controlling sociopathologic pedophiles of power systems that they've put up, across the world. Government, war, money, death care, name it. It's all systems of control. And you found a way not only to think about how we get out, you've created it and created a way for people to educate themselves how they too can get out. And when you get out, then you get to get creative. And really, when you don't have all this limitation, you can be so much more creative. And this entire space is proof of it. I don't know that anything like this could have shown up in the USA yet. They probably would have shut down their server or had them raided by FEMA or the CIA or set them up for a drug deal or something. Oh, we had the wrong address on that SWAT team raid.
What I want to say that Paralelní Polis is open source. So if somebody wants to open his own branch of Paralelní Polis in his city or in his state, he can. If he wants to ruin his account and personal life.
Yes, it does. It does kill you, and a lot. You have to die to you have to die to your slave self. And it is challenging to make the switch, but you get better at it and it gets easier.
Okay, so
but go ahead. So it's not franchised, and it's created so other people can adopt the model and apply it in their country, so it can spread all over the world. It's about
basic rules, just to not cooperate with the state as much as possible. For example, sometimes we rent our venue for some companies or something, and we refused to rent it to the organizations which are funded by the government or which for the mainly source of money are from donations from states, and other rule is accept just cryptocurrencies, not the fiat money, because
no, absolutely. And that's the piece of magic. If anybody is new to cryptocurrency, the magic is you get to take those Czech Corona or whatever paper you have and put it in the Bitcoin ATM down in the Bitcoin coffee shop. you do it. And you take something that's debt and turn it into something that has value and privacy.
Yep.
And it's completely in your control.
Yeah,
and it's radical. You're a cryptoanarchist.
Everything is radical when it's not. I don't know. I can say
it's outside the box.
Yeah. Right.
So
as I said, it's possible to open Paralelní Polis, and it's our idea. We want to encourage people to build their. If necessarily, it can be the Paralelní Polis it is here. Just build your parallel society.
Yep.
Don't rely on
self-sufficient, independent, sovereign. Yeah. And it inspires co-creation. That's what I love about this place. It inspires co-creation. It empowers and it inspires. This whole place is a work of co-creation. You know, I met you, so I'm interviewing you, but there's a whole team here.
Yeah. Just don't accept the non-voluntary authorities.
Yes.
Choose your authorities.
I do not consent. So did you want to talk a little more about the Hackers Congress, or do you want to talk a little bit about the Paper Hub, or tell us about MakersLab? And your website is so amazing too.
I can present some our basic concept from this building, because we are 4th floor building, the black building.
Mm-hmm.
So in the basement there is 3D printers, 3D printing lab. There are some 3D printers, and we provide lectures to the people how to use 3D printers, how to make their own prototypes on that, and there are some lectures about the drones, how to build your own drone. So this is the most technical floor in our building. We are preparing there another room which will be hackerspace. It will start after the Congress, so in October. There we want to provide some lectures about IT stuff in security. Yeah, like how to set up your computer to be secure, how to set up your communication, and stuff like this. At the floor above is a Bitcoin coffee. It's our cafe where you can take the best coffee in the Prague. And it's the gate to the Paralelní Polis. It's the first thing you will see when you come from the street. You will see a big coffee machine. You will see Bitcoin ATM when you can change your shitcoins to the Bitcoins, and Litecoins. We added the possibility to pay with the Litecoins because a few months ago the fees for the Bitcoin transactions went high, and it was not so efficient to buy.
Yeah, Bitcoin's been a little interesting lately. We'll talk about that later.
So,
but they have great coffee. Your coffee, it is. And so people who come in are just looking for a cup of coffee or to sit and use their computer, who don't know, they're like, oh, what is that? What do you mean Bitcoin? And they get a whole education just when they go to pay, because they can't use paper. So, and
we have a great barista. So the girls.
Yes, Elzbieta, Elizabeth, we love her. She's been to Bali.
Yeah. the girls not only make you great coffee, they also help you with the change your fiat money to the bitcoins or Litecoins. So they do really great job there.
They're like kindergarten teachers for people who are still in the slave money system. They're gentle and they're very helpful and instructive, and they take their time, and they're very sweet, and they're all really cool. Great souls here.
The first floor, there is a co-working space, which called a paper hub. It's called based on our stuff in that venue, which is made of paper or carton, because at the very beginning we didn't have a lot of funds to buy some expensive tables and chairs. So
you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually turn my camera around and show them exactly what you're talking about, because what he's saying is they took old cardboard boxes and they made furniture and use of them. And let's just see if this is going to work. But here's the television right here. You can see that right there. And then over here, I'm going to turn the camera. There's outside. That's where you're sitting, but we can't see you. That whole deck and much of the interior as well. I mean, there's even like this little side table there, all made out of paper. They took trash and turned it into treasure, is what you did here. It's a beautiful piece. It's so creative, so creative.
We also provided some workshops how to build your own paper furniture.
Oh, really? But that's not the only way you recycle. You even in the kitchen here, everything is, they have recycling bins for the paper and the plastic, which I was impressed Prague has. The only thing we got to get you guys can't do a compost yet, evidently, but that would be the only thing I would add. But I mean, come on, you've got everything else that it's just amazing. So continue about Paperhood. So they've taken all this old trash because they had the limitation of not having a lot of funds. So they got creative and they made their own furniture. And it's stylish too.
So basically, you can rent the table for a day, for a few hours, or for the whole month. Yes, and there are many of creative people and many IT people, marketing people, lots of freelancers here.
Yeah, a lot of entrepreneurs. Yep, it's amazing. And you're out on the terrace, which is this beautiful little open space, and you can sit out there and smoke or have your coffee or one of the Hey, you have one of the Paralelni Polis beers, the Cryptoanarchy beers. Why don't you show them what the beers look like? You can sit here. Yeah, I actually took that a little higher. There you go. I actually went down and got one of those after a very frustrating day on the computer and took a picture, and we'll have that in the slideshow. But and I'm in what I just showed you around is one of the rooms that can be rented out for meetings or something like this, to do a radio show. There's many different spaces out in the other room. Maybe we'll have somebody come on live in a little bit, but it's loungy, it's comfortable. And then if you're the person that needs a desk, there's desks to sit up, or you can lay across the couches, and it's just got a really nice environment. It really is. It's wonderful. There's so much going on here, but it's so, while it's quiet in the room, it's got this energy of being very, very busy.
Actually, it's awarded as the I don't know how to say, the most beautiful co-working space in the Central Europe.
Well, you won an award last year, didn't you?
Yeah.
What award was that?
I can't remember now what was.
It was like the best co-working space in Europe, or best up and coming. Yeah, it was, and I see why. I scanned them all when I was looking for a place in paper. I'm like, Bitcoin. Oh, they take Bitcoin? Oh, I'm going there. And first, I just had my own stuff on my plate I had to take care of. So I'd run in, I'd work, and I'd run out. And after a while, I was like, I started talking to some people and I'm like, oh my God, what is underneath my nose here? It's amazing. So back to the Bitcoin coffee. They have the Bitcoin machines. All the baristas down there are also Bitcoin baristas, and they'll help you. And there's wonderfully creative, the people here, you meet them from all over, but they're all creative. And there's such a, just like in an anarchist society, there's no conflict. There's no sense or even space for conflict to arise. It just, it's non-existent. And that's the energy here. It's, you can get, and then that's when we can create our best, you know, and you're doing it there. Actually, I think I saw that that MakersLab, the 3D printing place on the down below, they're actually developing an entirely, you know, radical new form of 3D printing that's going to take it to even a whole new level. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we've decided to have the 3D printers lab here is because it's a really amazing technology. Because now you don't need to rely on some big companies.
Yep.
Just buy a printer, and you can just download some tiny file from internet and print out any stuff you want.
No, it's funny you mentioned that because my book that I'm about to publish, I didn't want to go through some big, huge print. I started it that way and I backed out. I was going to print, publish with Balboa Press, but they wanted so much control. And I'm like, screw that. I'm not changing this. I'm not changing that. It's my story. And I ended up finding this program from a gentleman in India that I purchased from him for a couple $100. And it turns my document into an ebook that can be downloaded immediately, purchased. It gives away a couple of first few pages, and then they can purchase the ebook immediately, or they can order a 3D printed book. I think I have to connect him to you guys for who's going to be the source of the 3D printing. I love it.
Even if I know that they tested the 3D printers at the International Space Station. So, and you need some tool, and you are, I don't know, 200 kilometers above the Earth, and you need some tool. You don't need another racket for a delivery. You just download the file and print it out. That was the great. It's a great great tool for decentralization, which is one of
Yes.
the main topics for Paralelní Polis. Actually, the last Congress, the Congress last year, decentralization was the main topic of it.
Rocksome. I love it. Okay, and so that, as I said, we're on. You guys call it the second floor in the state. I mean, you call it the first floor, but in the States we call this the second floor because you do ground and then one. So the top floor, the fourth floor of this is the Institute of Cryptoanarchy, and it is a striking place. I accidentally, before you got here, I went up to go in there looking for Jacob. And I walked in and they were having this huge presentation. Somebody was doing a PowerPoint. It's beautiful. The space is beautiful. It's so Spartan, but yet it's comfortable and very inviting. They had a huge spread, and tell us what goes on up in the Institute of Cryptoanarchy.
It's our venue for providing lectures and meetups and stuff like this. This is the main part of Paralelní Polis. This is the place when we spreading our ideas to the world, to the people. We have many programs there. The Bitcoin meetups. We have there are some meetup about machine learning, about anarcho-capitalism. All the free, we are preparing some club for the people who are the most interested in these ideas of the Paralelní Polis, and don't know how to say it. It's a top floor, and it's core of this building.
It is. It reminds me of like the CEO's office in a professional, you know, with all the bosses and the CIOs. Only go up there, and the CEO isn't a CEO of anything but their own corporation. So it's like this big. Is probably, you know what it is? It's probably very similar to like a space that the round table meets. You know, all the satanic pedophiles of power. They have these beautiful, they have nice food, and they sit there and they plot how they're going to enslave and control the world and continue to do so, and how long they can keep us from waking up. It looks like a place like that, only instead of fighting and how do we destroy it, it's how do we create. It's that whole Buckminster. It's a co-creation kitchen, really what it is, but it's like a co-creation catered event. So you're like at a wedding. And one person has their voice being heard while everybody else has something else to share. It's not their day to share, but you get to network and meet all these other wonderful people, so you can have the next wedding.
That leads me what I want to say about the structure behind the building.
Mm-hmm.
As the organization, Paralelní Polis. We are officially a non-profit organization. And we were inspired by the non-government organizations from the US, because
which NGO inspired you?
There was not just
oh, just the style of it. Okay.
Yeah, because
the archetype.
Explain that because the common NGO in Czech Republic is that you found something, some organization, and then you wait for donation.
Oop, you froze. Did your camera froze? Do you want to just come in and join me? I don't know if we can do that. Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
okay. No, you froze for a minute. It's okay. So say whatever you just said, because we didn't hear it.
Okay. So I can start again. The common
NGO
road plan NGO in Czech Republic, there are some people who have some ideas they wanna help to poor people, or I don't know, to some.
I saw, yeah, like the Pink Bubbles van that helps raise money for kids with cancer, that kind of NGO, yeah.
Yeah, what the first they do, they fund the organization, and then they wait for funds from the states.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a common in Czech Republic, and there are many NGOs here, and this was not the way we want to go.
No, because they always want to have the last word and control something. It's like being a recording artist, you know, like how Prince had it. He changed his name because they owned everything that was him, and he wouldn't change it, so he left, and they kept everything. Yeah. It's the same kind of thing. You won't get anywhere.
So we want to be donated only from the private sector or private companies.
Yes.
So we built the board of donators for the basic, and then we are running our own business, as selling coffees and stuff from MakersLab. We are renting our venues, and so this was it's something unusual here.
No, it's unusual in the world. It's very rare. You know, we had a Bitcoin ATM at a co-working space in Ubud called Hubud, and they have a lot going on too, but it's not It's not what, it's different. Every co-working space has its own environment, but you've really got it all wrapped. You've got all the bases covered here. Because you're not contracting. You're
even the
not
building is
contracting
not
anywhere. Yep.
owned by a city, or it's a private building. We have a commercial rent here, so.
Oh, you do?
It's not cheap.
I'm sure.
But we don't want to other people to pay our business, I could say, involuntary.
Yes.
If you want it, pay for it. If you don't want it, don't pay for it.
Exactly.
So it's on us to make people voluntarily pay for our ideas, for our services, or stuff like this.
No, exactly. That's what's wrong with the capitalist economy, is with the trickle down economics. Please, it's just all the money goes up and we have nothing. You don't have your needs met, and so they keep limiting. Like my son, we'd go, "Mommy," he goes, I'd buy. So he wanted this marble thing, and it was like $80, and it was like $1's worth of plastic and maybe $1 of marbles, and it cost ridiculous, and it broke. It took me 2 hours to put the thing together. And it broke in like an hour, and he was crying, and he goes, "Mommy," he goes, why? And I said, "It's not you, honey." And he said, "Why?" And I go, "Because they took a really neat picture, but the companies are only interested in profit, so they make really cheap toys because they don't care if a kid gets sad when it breaks."
Yep. So back to the organization structure. So we have the board of donators. The funds from the donators we don't want to spend for the regular maintenance or stuff like that. So we want to spend it for improving the program. So maintenance should be funded by our business.
Self-generating.
Yeah, of course.
Self-supporting. Yes.
Yeah. And there is a supervisory board, which is I think we are we don't have any kind of CEO
Leader.
or one leader. We have that supervisory board. We are so now we are 8 persons.
8 people. I was going to say, is there a set number, or can anybody join that wants to? Or how does that go?
It's not limited. It's just the.
I didn't think it would be. That's why I asked the question. I play angel's advocate a lot. I'll ask questions I know the answer to just to let you answer. That's amazing. See, there is no limitation. It's whatever works and fits. And anybody who shows up, then they have something to offer, even if it's just listening.
We always said if you want to do anything for Paralelní Polis, take the responsibility and do it.
I love it. Take the challenge, get inspired to go create something new. Don't be bound by old rules, old beliefs, or old authority. Get creative. And you did, and everybody here does. It's amazing. That's why I'm actually in the private room. I was just assuming we do it up in at the Institute of Cryptoanarchy, and it's so pretty. I mean, it's beautiful. It really is. It's a white leather couch. It's gorgeous. But that's fine. I like that you're so busy that we have to be in these little corners.
And for me, it's quite something like miracle that 2 years ago, there was just a black building with a Bitcoin ATM, and there are a few people in Prague who knows what Bitcoin is, what anarchy is, and now the Paralelní Polis become one of the famous independent concepts in the world. We are more known in the world than in Czech Republic.
Isn't that beautiful?
But,
it's like Christ and his family. They think he's an asshole. The rest of the world thinks he's Jesus Christ.
I always ask myself, how the fuck did it happen?
Because it was meant to. Life and love thrive and survive, and they find a way, no matter what. You just got to go deep in your heart and find what you came to bring. And this place is filled with rainbow warriors. I don't know I think I might have shared that with you the other night, but Rainbow Warrior, there's stories for Rainbow Warriors all over the world in every different culture, lots of religions. But the one that I found, the first one was the Native American, and I'm part Native American when I lived in Sedona. And they are a group of people who would arise, all places, all colors, all creeds, shapes and sizes, all over the world, that would bring back the old ways and bring in new ones. And bring us into the golden age, which we just had with the eclipse. That was the timeline shift. So boom, it's perfect that I found you guys beforehand. But it's amazing. And this place is filled with rainbow warriors. People, you know, and a lot of them don't even have to, they didn't have to even do the healing. They're just creating the sustainable solutions. So this is where you get to when you get through the death and rebirth, the killing the dead legal name, and reclaiming your sovereignty and your spirit and your soul and the right to create, because that's what we are, immortal conscious co-creators having a human life. And we all came to play this video game, and I'm so glad I ended up in the room called Paralelní Polis.
I always say that we are building full of weirdos.
But wonderful weirdos, unique. You know, the goth girl, or what was the movie, The Breakfast Club? I forget the girl, but you know, hunched over. Everybody has it's all individual snowflakes. It's not tiny little boxes, cardboard cutout copies. Everybody the same, and nobody's judged. You're allowed to just be who you are, and you're accepted for who you are. Honor, respect. There's no disrespect here in any way. I love it. It's so nice to be in a room, a building filled with people like that. And I mean, that's why the consciousness festivals and things are so neat, because you go and then you go back. But this is everyday life. It's here every day. And
what's interesting,
got huge all over the world. That's because it's like a great song or a video, you know, it gets popular because not somebody's paying to promote the video or whatever, but because people want to watch it. It's got value, you know, and you have a you're creating value, you're creating real value. You're like a lifeboat outside the Titanic. And there's various people, some are on a board and some are dying, and it's like, oh, here you go. Oh, don't worry, here's some crypto. Oh, would you like a nice warm cup of coffee? Oh, you can have a beer if you need that. And you know what? Oh, well, it's beautiful. It's like this little gateway to heaven.
What's another interesting thing? There's the really high concentration of cyborgs here.
Cyborgs? Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't want to not mention that. That was the one thing that I was like, uh-oh, when I saw the transhumanism on there, because the last thing I would, part of the reason I left the US is because they're microchipping people all over the place. Your animals, babies, cars, staff, security, military, all this kind of thing. It all depends on who's in control of the technology. But I'm sure if there is a chip that, well, I'll let you tell about it, but I saw the chip, I'm like, oh, but there's no way with the character of these people and their intention that they wouldn't have an encrypted chip that couldn't be overtaken and controlled and turned you into a puppet. So I'd love to hear about this, because I'm one of those people who has very steady beliefs. I do my due diligence and my research, but I bet you have something amazing for me to offer to model how people can be adamant about something and then in one moment change their mind because they're exposed to new information and need to just drop everything they believed before and go with what's working. So it doesn't make you bad or going against you. You're just believing. I want you to help change my belief right here about microchips. So you tell me about what I saw underneath the transhumanism that I saw going on and what that is.
Those are one of our programs in Institute of Cryptoanarchy. was transhumanism, and it was about NFC chips.
NFC?
NFC, yeah, it's the same as you have your card for your company entrance, or for the opening your computer or stuff like this. And what we did, that we chipped people here, of course, voluntary.
I saw that right at the end as I was writing up the information, and I'm like, oh my God, here's a bag of worms. But I bet it's going to be really neat. So go ahead, tell me about it.
So many of us, because NFC chip actually it's a small memory. It's a small memory chip where you can store some text information and stuff like this. Many of us has their own Bitcoin wallet, so we can pay our coffee just with our hands. We just put the hand. The chip is right here. I don't know whether it will be. It's not.
Yeah, just back up from your camera a little. It was just a little too bright, actually. But a little mark. Yes. Yeah. That's funny. I have a little mark like that on my hand over here, but I don't have a chip.
The first thing what many people say when they have that I have a chip in my hand, so oh, you will be controlled by the sun. You will there's a huge possibility of surveillance of stuff like this, but in fact the chip is readable from distance of 3 millimeters. So I don't know, it's in
what's the distance? 3 meters or 3 millimeters?
Millimeters. It's like a 1/10 of inch, or I don't know how.
Okay, gotcha.
So it could be quite hard to track me. Of course, it's possible to track me if there's some stalker by my hand, I think I will recognize it.
I think so.
And it's more cheaper to track people by their cell phones or computers.
Oh yeah.
So.
Or even their body odor. But the chip actually, it does a couple different things. I think when I looked on the, you had said you can pay. It acts like your Bitcoin wallet, so you can access your wallet. Would that be able to, like, is it just Bitcoin, or can you do Steam and Ethereum and all of them, or is it just the function of accessing any Bitcoin wallet?
It depends on the tools, on the reader. Yeah, because there should be some cache desk or something like this, which is able to read the NFC chips and the chips where the actually in the chip there is all of the private key for the wallet. So for the cryptocurrencies where you need the
scan code,
the private key, so you can load it to the chip, and then you can pay it. But it's not just for Bitcoin wallets. You can store that your card, like you can like
a debit card.
No, like V card.
A what card?
Electric card with a name, an address, and stuff like this.
Oh, okay.
Something like ID.
Yeah.
You can load it. You can load there some internet address.
Is it kind of like a Bluetooth too? Because can't you turn your computer on and off, or lock it on and off? Something like that I saw.
It's more like USB flash disk. Yeah.
Okay.
The first.
You'll have to show me afterwards when we can be in the same room again.
Actually, the first thing I stored in my NFC chip was a link to Pornhub.
Was what?
link to Pornhub.
Hey, whatever flavor.
It worked like that. That you, if I placed my mobile phone to my hand, and the site opened.
Oh, that's hilarious. No, but you see, and no, it's perfect. That's also expressing how there's no judgment. There's nothing wrong with porn. Nobody put a dagger to those girls' throats to pose, and there's plenty of guys willing to look, and they're having privacy. There's, it's it's a perfect example.
It was just my idea, because all of my friends stole their bitcoins, and I said, I do the same as the other.
Oh, funny. Well, I'd be curious to wonder what some of the women's the microchip women have for their draw up on their page. It's probably shopping or some kind of video or an audio book, maybe. I don't know. I'd be curious. Or maybe they have female porn. Or Tinder. There you go. Yeah. They probably have Tinder as the site they load.
Okay, I don't know where we
oh no, well, are you all? Is that all the things that the chip does? The only thing I do want to do quick before we go, I know you're in a hurry. We're at just about an hour now, but I did want to talk just a little bit because of the ginormous fluctuations. I mean, look, Bitcoin. I bought it at 500 last year in August, some, and then I bought some more when it was around 800, almost to 9 last December or so, or November, and then it exploded, and it went up over 2,500, and then it went down, and then it went up, and then it crashed, and then it went back up, and then it's been so erratic. I'm new to cryptocurrency in the last year or so, and I have a lot of friends who are. My co-host is a big, he's the one of the 2 friends that got me into it. The one that also built that encrypted app similar to Fascist Book. Did my research and got it, and then you just have to start playing with it. It's like a toy. You got to just get in the game and kind of see what goes and play with it. But what's going on with the cryptocurrency from your opinion? Why do you think we've seen these fluctuations? Because the blockchain is not hackable. It's encrypted, it's private, and if no one's controlling the thing, it looks awful lot like it would back at like right before they're about to break the stock market. So I'm really curious to your opinion. What do you think's been going on?
The first thing would I have to say that the volatility of Bitcoin is primarily done because it's new currency. Those invented in now it's 7 years ago. So it's there are currencies which are hundreds years old. So the fact that the Bitcoin is so
it's volatile.
Yeah, it's not surprised me because it's 7 years old child.
I was just gonna say it's like just like a kid. Oh, mommy, those 5 dozen eggs. I thought they were for painting all over the couch. I didn't know those were supposed to eat.
But, I think as it is almost new, so the volatility becomes more stable.
Gotcha.
So wild as it was, and we are used to it now. Because if I buy some bitcoins and the next day the price went down, I think it's okay. The next week will be just different. And if you see the charts from the very beginning of Bitcoin for today, it's still going. So.
No, yeah, I did. I looked at the all. I actually have Polonics open. I looked at the all right before we went on, and I'm like, well, actually, no. Even though it looks like it's been really drastic, it's not if you look at the overall picture. But you know how it went down, and then it started to go back up, and then I thought it was going to crash because of the fork, and it didn't. So I was waiting to buy, and then I just got so busy and whatever, and it started. I just sensed it was going down, and it did a little bit. And I'm like, no, I think it's going to go down more. So I waited, and then I'm like, frick it, I'm just going to buy, and I bought it 42, and then it crashed to what, 29, 30?
Because when I bought my first Bitcoins, I sat behind my computer and always touching F5 and looking for the charts and from half an hour and again. Oh,
exactly. I know, I was the same way.
Down dollars. I see it on my colleagues in company or my friends because they often come to me and, hey, I want to buy a Bitcoin and tell me something. So I provide them some basic knowledge. Then they buy Bitcoins, and every hour they they write me, oh, it went down. No, it's okay. It went up. It's gone. And
that's what I did with my friend Brett. No, I told him the whole story, and I kept. I'm like, oh God.
And then
he's like, yeah.
Then they are surprised when I say then that, okay, but I didn't see the chart for a week or so. Because every day there is somebody who asks me what's today's price of a Bitcoin. I go, I don't know. I didn't check it.
That's because you've been in it a while. That's what he said. He said when you get in, you're like that at first till you figure out, you know what, you're in it for the long run. And it doesn't matter. I'm like, oh, but my whole intention this time was to buy the bit just to buy steam. I didn't want to touch the bit I had already invested because it was going up. And it crashed, so like, you know, more than half of the volume. Or like, well, no, because I guess it went, yeah, because it was almost a 5. So, but whatever, I wanted to get back up so that I could buy my steam because I wasn't going to lose. I'll wait till the Bitcoin goes back up, then I'll get my steam. And it doesn't matter whenever you buy more bit, but I got enough bit if it's going to go. I'm happy to just let it sit and watch. But I want to be able to use more, and it was so awesome to come where I could use it and access it. You can play it. You can actually use Bitcoin to purchase tickets on Expedia now, plane tickets.
Yep.
So, and there's more and more things popping up and ways to utilize and systems being created that accept other cryptos. I saw on Steemit the other day, they have the first thing ready to be able to use Steemit to be able to pay with, you know, a program. So that's really cool too. I'm sure you guys will be on the cutting edge of all of this.
What is great about cryptocurrencies is that, as we mentioned, it's not controlled by state. Its value it depends only on free market, and so nobody can just say, hey, let's make Bitcoin I don't know, less valuable. So
exactly.
There are some tendencies from, for example, China government. The last weeks, the China government forbid the generating of ICO. They closed some exchanges, and when many people told me, hey, you always say that there is no government who can control Bitcoin, and let's see, China banned something, and Bitcoin went down. I said, okay, but it's free market. China government decided to ban some things. Bitcoin value compared with the dollar went down, but it wasn't a decision of the Chinese government. They didn't say, "Hey, let's lower Bitcoin value for, I don't know, 30%." They just banned something, and the market
reflected
react with this. Yeah. But
yeah, no, I get it. And this is because, so what you're stating, I just wanted to make sure I'm clear on it, because I'm a little hard of hearing, and is that, you know, the BRICS banks, the Bank of China is one of the only banks that actually has a gold and silver backed value-based currency. And, you know, it was Brazil, Russia, Indonesia, China, and South Africa. But the Bank of China is one of those. So it's not like the Bank of China went, or the government, but I would say the bank, it's not like the Bank of China made some choices and fluctuated their stock market to try to kill Bitcoin, because it's a competitor, because it has actual value too. It's just a simple reflection of the market that occurred because there were some decisions made in the Chinese government, and most likely the banksters as well. Even if they are value-based banksters, they're still banksters because they still steal your money. And they charge you interest, and they charge you $12 to print your statement monthly, even though it's on a computer and there's no paper and it's being done by a robot and not a person. So they're still banksters, they're just better banksters. So that's a really nice, important thing to know. I'm glad you clarified that for me. No, awesome. Yeah. But you know what? I'm going to have you do this. And this is, I love doing things new and breaking outside the box. So we had to start the show that way with nothing going the way we thought we would. I'd love you, well, to come inside the last part of the show. I do something, we always do this, whoever's on there. I've never had just two of us so far, because it's been usually at least three with Brett and then people in the circle. But we say what we're grateful for. And because of our late, we didn't get to promote, we didn't get anybody to show up live. I think one other person is watching us. I don't see them with their camera on, so it means they don't want to be seen. But we have one other viewer anyway. But we do what we're grateful for. So when you're done with your cigarette, come on in and we'll finish up the show quick, unless you want to come on in now, because I love changing it up and mixing it up, and I've never had a guest sitting right next to me. I always do it on Skype, so I'd love to break that. And it would be really great to have our two t-shirts together and say what we're grateful for. Yeah. And I see you kind of shivering out there.
before I finish my cigarette, I can show the guests our
why don't you do that?
Glass. Here you can see the biggest Bitcoin and Litecoin enthusiast.
Yeah, actually, why don't you stand up and show them the beautiful square? Because there's like that beautiful like towery brick thing, and then the ivy that's all over the wall, and you can even wave in at me if you want. Why don't you do this? Why don't you take your camera and walk through the kitchen and walk in the front door when you come in, and they can get a little tour of. And they can see the inside of Paper Hub while you walk through.
What I have to mention that as we care about privacy, so I cannot the camera over the people. No. But
I meant then we can do this. You can be talking to me as you walk through, and it'll only be you on camera.
I will have to manage it with holding beer.
Show the multitasking skill it takes to be a digital nomad and change worlds.
I'm a man.
We don't always do it so gracefully. That's okay. We're human. It's all about the experience, and you never do something you've never done before the first time out. It just doesn't happen. Not in this world. Well, maybe when Kundalini's fired, I don't know. But it tends to get better the second or third time, and then it gets easy. It's like walking. You don't really know how to walk until you fall down and know how to get back up and continue walking. Same here. But no, this place is amazing, and I'm so grateful to you and that's not what I'm grateful for today, but for agreeing to do this, because I know just how busy you are now after asking you and then going in and really digging into the research of just what Paralelni Polis is. And now with the story about the guy that wrote it, hi! There he is. I figured you were doing something like that. Anyway, it's just so perfect. And my whole intention behind this show is to focus on other rainbow warriors. And usually it's just one person with some other people, or a couple of people, or a group. But you have a whole community of rainbow warriors here. And there you are, walking up. So maybe we leave your computer. I would just turn that one off or leave it over there? Because if you come up, I think if we just take this, no, I bet we can.
I will. I will.
You can just kill your camera if you want. Let me just exit the Hangout and join over here and we won't get any feedback. Perfect. See? Welcome to humanity and progress. Not doing everything perfect. Cheers. I have to go. Here, let's get the label around. Come on, let's use the marketing. This is my friends in Bali, but it's coconut kefir, the key for life. Amazing if you get to Ubud. But I'll be having one of those afterwards. It's okay to take a sip of water on camera or have a cigarette or live your life. We don't have to be so rigid about how we do everything. And this place is amazing, and thank you so much. See, I like doing this better instead of having to always look at the camera and look at the person. So this is awesome. So thank you so much for doing this interview. I know it was last minute. I know just how busy your time is and the million things you're multitasking as, and the whole room of us right before we started, we're all like an hour late and things are popping up in our lap, but we still got the show off. So it doesn't matter, it wasn't perfect, but at least we did it. And as I said, every show we have a thing where we say what we're grateful for. So it can be whatever you want. I'm grateful that I'll start off just as an example, but it's not going to be what I'm grateful for because I always go last. I always put the guest first. But for example, I'm grateful that we got this show off even if we weren't able to get everybody in all the different rooms and do it in the cryptic way we had it all set up or thought it was going to be. But it is what it is in a tier. So what are you grateful for? It can be anything.
Oh.
A breath and a cigarette and a beer.
No, what I just want to say to anybody, please be free.
Heaven, yeah. That's what you want to say to people. What are you grateful for? Your sovereignty, your freedom, the air today, the fact that it didn't rain while you had to sit outside. It could be whatever you want.
Basically, my freedom is
your sovereignty.
Yeah.
Reclaiming your sovereignty.
I think it's written in my DNA. So.
I hear you that. I believe it. I went to school for genetic engineering. I think it is encoded in our DNA. I might have to talk to you about one of those microchips. If you get one of those. Who do you say you think I am? And I'll have it say I'm Rainbow Warrior Goddess. It won't say my legal name.
That's always my nickname is Sodomak. And of course, I have
a legal fraud.
But I always said that it's my nickname for officials.
You told me this story. I love that sodomite, as in those from Sodom who bend people over and rape little children without Vaseline. Yes, I think it's perfect. Completely fun. Laughter is big medicine, yes, and that's how we make fun of really dark truths. It helps it go down a little better. So awesome. Well, as I said, I'm grateful for having met you. I'm grateful for my time in Prague. I'm grateful that we pulled this off, and I'm so grateful that to even experience this, because it's one thing to hear about it or see a link on the internet. It's another thing to walk into a place and realize you're in this amazing, amazing. Every other place that I've interviewed and I sought it out. This one just landed in my lap and was underneath my nose for weeks before I realized what I really had here, just because I was so busy. But I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful to continue on my journey. I will definitely be back to Prague. I love it. I would love to be able to come do a couple months of the year here and work out of here, and for the Hackers Congress and meet other people, and I could probably get a couple years of radio show guests from just the Hackers Congress alone. So with that, everyone, why don't you just take 1 second to, well, we don't even have to go there. This is Sodomak, Rainbow Warrior Goddess, all the links for you to either find out more about Paralelni Polis, as well as any of the businesses occurring in it, Bitcoin, all that. The websites are listed below. It's Paralelni Polis, their Facebook page, and you get links to the Paper Hub and MakersLabs and Bitcoin Coffee and the Institute of Crypto all on there, and everything else. They have so many programs, so many groups. It's all conscious co-creation. They're down below, and please go ahead and if you like this video, share it, because these people are living, changing the world, and we want to spread this. We want to get rid of all the propaganda and show you just how you too can hack matrix. So thank you for joining us on this episode of Consciousness Caffeine Radio. And shine on from Prague.
Bye.